Your first real paycheck is $847, and you stare at it like it might disappear. You check the account balance twice before you believe it. You are 22 years old, and this is the beginning of everything.
The apartment costs $650 a month. That leaves you $197. You spend it on groceries and a bus pass, and try not to think about the math.
You are 22, and you have a goal you haven't told anyone. $10,000 in savings before your next birthday. You write it in the back of a notebook and keep the notebook in a drawer.
You pick up a second shift. You eat peanut butter on bread for dinner 4 nights a week. Your coworkers go out on Fridays, and you say you're tired. You are not tired. You are saving.
11 months later, the account crosses $10,000. You sit in your car in a parking lot and let out a breath you've been holding for a year. You feel something. Not happiness exactly. More like proof.
You are 23. You start reading about index funds on your lunch break. Your coworkers think you've gotten weird. You think most of them are fine with being broke. You open a Roth IRA with $500. The account interface looks like it was designed for someone older and richer. You feel like a fraud. You do it anyway.
You get a raise, $2,400 more per year. Most people spend a raise before it arrives. You don't touch it. You increase your contributions and eat the same things you were eating before.
You are 24. Your friends are taking vacations. Someone's in Cancun. Someone else just posted from Portugal. You close the app and transfer $400 to your investment account.
Your savings and investments cross $25,000. You don't tell anyone. There's no one to tell who would understand why this matters the way it does to you.
You are 25. You get a better job, $52,000 a year. You rent the same apartment. You drive the same car. You feel almost nothing about the salary, except that it accelerates the timeline.
You put every extra dollar into index funds. Month by month, the number grows in a way that feels unreal, like a second income you never spend. You start to understand compound interest, not as a concept, but as a feeling.
You are 26. You ask for a raise, and you don't say please. You've researched what the role pays at competing companies. Your manager says yes. You put the difference directly into investments.
Your net worth crosses $50,000. You feel it for about 12 minutes, and then you recalibrate your target to $100,000. The goalposts always move. You don't yet know if that's ambition or a warning sign. You are 27. You start side work, freelance projects on nights and weekends. You make an extra $800 some months. Every cent goes to investments. You don't think of it as grinding. You think of it as purchasing time. You move to a city with a higher cost of living for a job that pays $78,000. You still don't upgrade your lifestyle. Your new coworkers have nicer apartments and newer cars. You have a portfolio no one can see.
You are 28. Your investments cross $100,000. You remember reading that most people never cross $100,000, that the first 100 is the hardest, and you feel a cold, clean pride. You go on exactly one vacation in 5 years. 1 week in a cabin, alone, with a notebook and no agenda. When you get back, you realize you can't remember the last time you sat still without planning.
You are 29. The portfolio was at $140,000. Your salary is at $96,000. Someone at work calls you one of the sharp ones. You smile, but you don't know what that means for your life outside of work.
You stop eating out, not because you can't afford it, because you've calculated that cutting $300 per month in food adds $3,600 per year to your investment pace. The math is clean. The life is not.
You are 30. Your net worth is $180,000. You thought crossing 30 would feel like something significant, a marker, a door. It feels like another Tuesday. The number keeps growing. You keep working.
You get an unexpected bonus, $14,000. You don't celebrate. You have it invested within 48 hours. You text one friend. Big year. Back comes a fire emoji. Neither of you elaborates.
You are 31. You change jobs again. $118,000 now. You negotiate your equity package for the first time.
You do not negotiate a single vacation day. Later, you will think about that. Your portfolio crosses $250,000. You run a FIRE number calculation for the first time, how much you'd need to never have to work again. The number is $2,500,000. It feels impossible. You keep going.
You are 32. You have not taken a sick day in 2 years. Not because you're never sick, because taking a day feels like losing ground. You have built a relationship with work that looks like dedication and feels like fear.
The market drops 18% in 3 months. Your portfolio falls from $310,000 to $254,000. You do not panic. You buy more. This is the first time you feel confident, truly confident, in the person you've become.
You were 33. You start dating seriously for the first time since 26. On the third date, you realize you've been telling every story in terms of what you gave up to get somewhere. The person across from you notices before you do.
The answer comes back, you talk about money like it's the person you're building yourself for. You don't answer right away. You order another drink and think about it for 3 days.
Your investments cross $400,000. This was the number you were sure would feel like safety. It doesn't feel like anything. You update your spreadsheet, you open your laptop, you keep working.
You are 34. You get promoted to director. Your salary becomes $155,000. You have more responsibility and more meetings and less time. You have stopped asking what the time is for.
You start therapy, not because of the money, because of the feeling of nothing. The therapist asks what you want your life to look like. You realize you don't have an answer that isn't a number.
Your net worth crosses $500,000. You feel a flicker, the same flicker you felt at $10,000. Smaller now. The pattern becomes visible. The flicker fades faster every time. You tell your therapist. A slow nod, like this part was already expected.
You are 35. Your portfolio is at $750,000. You have stock options vesting next year. The projections show $1 million before 36. You've done the math so many times, the number has lost its meaning.
The options vest. The number crosses $1 million. You are 35 years old, and you are a millionaire. You are sitting in a work meeting when it happens. You check your phone under the table. You don't say a word.
You drive home the same way you always do. You make dinner, the same thing you make on Tuesdays. You call your mother. You don't tell her. You ask how her day was.
You are 35, worth $1 million, and you feel nothing. Not calm, nothing. The therapist says, that's useful information. You don't find it useful. You find it terrifying. You start researching what comes next. $1.5 million, $2 million, $2.5 million, your FIRE number. You build the same spreadsheets you've always built. The compulsion doesn't stop when the goal is met. You start to understand that.
You take a week off for the first time in 4 years. You go somewhere without telling anyone the reason. You sit on a beach and find that you keep mentally calculating hourly rates, what your time is worth, what you're giving up by being still.
You are 36. You go back to therapy after a break. You say, I think I used money to avoid building an actual life. Your therapist says, what would an actual life look like? You start, for the first time, to find out.
You start saying no to the extra projects. Not all of them, just some of them. It feels wrong at first, like leaving money on the table. You realize you've been confusing the table for the meal.
You are 36. You call an old friend you haven't spoken to in 3 years. You were too busy. The call lasts 2 hours. You laugh more than you have in months. You didn't know you missed that.
Your portfolio is at $1.4 million. The growth feels different now, not like a scoreboard, but like infrastructure, something underneath that allows you to do other things. You begin to understand what it was actually for.
You are 37. You take a 3-month leave. Your company approves it. You've earned enough political capital.
You spend the first 3 weeks not knowing what to do with yourself. Then something shifts. You start cooking properly, not for efficiency, for the experience of it. You call your grandmother and write down the recipe for the stew from when you were 7. It takes 3 hours. It's the most present you've been in a decade.
You are 38. You go back to work, but differently. You negotiate remote and flexible hours. You start leaving before 6 p.m. The first time you do it, your hands shake in the elevator. Old conditioning. You do it anyway.
You start a small project, something that earns nothing. A neighborhood food pantry, 1 Saturday a month. The first time you show up, you don't know where to stand. The second time, you do. The third time, you bring someone else.
You are 39. Your portfolio crosses $1.5 million. You notice it the way you notice the weather, with mild interest. This is new. You tell your therapist. That's the goal. Comes back quietly. You finally believe it. You meet someone. This time you don't explain yourself in spreadsheets. You say, I spent my 20s optimizing for a number, and now I'm learning to spend my 30s optimizing for something else. The question comes back, what? You say you're still figuring that out.
You are 40. You cross $2 million in net worth. You feel genuine, uncomplicated gratitude for the version of yourself that ate peanut butter and held the line, and for the version of yourself now who finally let go of that as an identity.
You spend a weekend teaching your niece about money. Not the obsessive version you lived, the healthy version. You tell your niece that money is a tool, not a purpose. It gets written down. You feel something you haven't felt in years, like you're passing something real on.
You are 41. You start working with a purpose. The food pantry has grown into an organization. You put $50,000 of your own money in to start it properly. You feel no regret. You feel the opposite.
Your portfolio is at $2.3 million and growing. You no longer check it every day. Some weeks you go 4 or 5 days without looking. This is a form of wealth you didn't know existed.
You are 42. You take a month and travel, not to optimize or check something off, just to see. You end up in a small town for a week longer than planned because you like the pace. You don't calculate what the hotel is costing per day. You are done with that math.
You reduce your work to 3 days a week. The 4th day is for the organization. The 5th is for whatever it is. You are not retired. You are restructured. There is a difference you now understand.
You are 43. A young colleague asks you how you got where you are financially. You pause. You tell them the real answer. Start early, automate everything, live below your means. But also, don't sacrifice the parts of life you can't get back for a number you'll feel nothing about when you reach it. You cross $2.5 million, your original FIRE number, the finish line you drew at 24 on a legal pad in a studio apartment. You are on a Tuesday at home when it happens. You make yourself a proper lunch. You eat it slowly.
You are 44. You volunteered to mentor 3 people who remind you of who you were at 22. Hungry, uncertain, eating the same thing every day and writing down numbers in the back of notebooks.
You realize the thing you were actually building across all those years of peanut butter and withheld vacations and check the account every mornings was freedom. Not freedom to stop, freedom to choose. You are 45. Your net worth is above $3 million. You no longer run projections. You have what you need, more than you need, and you know the difference now between enough and more. You find an old notebook. In the back, in your own handwriting from age 22, a goal, a plan, a number, and underneath it, though you don't remember writing this, 2 words. For what? The question you spent 23 years answering. You close the notebook. Your account balance is far from $847, but that first number still lives in you, the one you stared at on that cracked phone screen at 6 a.m., in the dark, before everything. The $847 that started all of it. You know now what it was for.